Hello everyone. So, today's lecture, we will learn about the sharing of data with the share compact dot intent builder. Okay, and we will also learn about the managing task and activity, and also activity launcher modes, and we will also learn about the activity attributes. So once you learn this chapter, you will understand about how we can share data with the share compact dot internet dot intent builder, and also how we managing task and activity inside the Android Studio or Android. um, and you will learn about also you will understand about activity launch mode. Okay, and also activity attributes. So first, guys, we will start to understand how data is actually received, how data received uh, implicit intent. So if you want an activity in your app respond the to respond the implicit intent, so declare one or more intent filter in the Android manifest. Okay, Android manifest file. So each intent filter uh, actually specify the type of intent it accept, and based on the intent action and data and category. So the system will deliver an implicit, and so system will deliver an implicit system will be delivered an implicit intent to your app component only if the intent can pass through one of your intent filter. So an explicit intent always delivered its target, right? So regardless of any intent filter, the component declares. And conversely, if your activity do not declare any intent filter, so they can only be launched with the explicit intent. So once your activity is successfully launched with an implicit intent, you can handle that intent and the data that the same way you did an explicit intent. So by getting the intent object with the get intent function, and getting intent data to extras out of that intent, and also performing the task the intent requested, and returning data to the calling activity with another intent if needed. So what is intent filter? Intent filter actually it define with the one or more intent filter elements. Okay, so in the type of manifest file, it nested in the corresponding activity elements. So it was written inside the intent filter, and it specify the type of type of intents your activity can handle. So the Android system matches an implicit intent with an activity or another app component only if the fields in the intent object matched. So in the intent filter for that component, an intent filter may contain these element and which correspond to the field in the intent object describes. Okay, so there are mainly three elements which are used inside the intent filter. Which one? First one is the action, second one is a data, and third one is a category. So uh, for example, the main activity of a app include the filter intent element. So we can show that we can show that the intent filter actually written like action and category. And category is actually and one action is necessary to define inside the intent filter, but category is totally optional. So the intent filter has action main and the category launcher. So the action element specify that action element specify that the main entry points of the application, and the category element specify this action should be listed in the system application launcher. Only the main activity of a app should if your app should have this intent filter. And so you can specify more than one action or a data or a category for the same intent filter, or have a multiple intent filter as per the activity to handle different kinds of intent. So the Android system so the Android system test an implicit intent against an intent filter by comprising the part of the intent, and each of three. Okay. So, however, because component may multiple intent filter, and the intent R does not passes through intent R does not passes through doesn't does not passes through one of the component filter, might makes it through another filter. And the action is actually an intent filter can declare a zero or more action element for the intent action, and the action is defined in the name attribute, and consistent of the consistent of the string and Android intent action, and plus the name of the intent action. So it minus the action prefix. So for example, an implicit intent with an action view matches an intent filter whose action is android.intent.action.view. For example, this intent filter matches either action underscore edit or action underscore view. Now to get through the filter, and the action specify the incoming data object must match at least one of the actions. So you must include at least one uh, intent action for incoming implicit intent to match. Okay. Next one is category, and the intent filter can declare zero or more category element to the intent category, and the category is defined in the name of attribute, and mainly in the string Android.intent.category. So plus the name of the intent category, and also minus the category preface. So for example, if you want to write the if you want to write the category inside the filter intent filter, so you need to write either category default or category browsable. Next one is a data. So if the filter can declare zero or more data element for the URL contained to the intent data, and the intent data consists of URL and MIME types. So you can create an intent filter of a various aspects of the data, including URL scheme, URL host, URL path, and MIME types. So, for example, the intent filter matches data invent in the URL scheme. So you need to write either HTTP or MIM type, either video slash MPEG or audio slash MPEG. So we can also share the data with the share compact dot intent builder. So for sharing action are a easy way for user to share item in your app with the social network and another app. So although you can build a share action in your own app, in your own app using implicit intent with an action send action. So Android provide the share compact dot intent builder helper class to easily implement sharing in the app. So for app that target Android represent after API 14, so we can use the share action provider class for share the action instead of share compact dot intent builder. So the share compact class is a part of version 4 support library, and it's allow you to provide share action in the app in the background compatible fashion. So share compact provide a single API for sharing on both old and new action device. So you will learn more about the android and more learn about the android support library in the letter section. Okay. So if the share compact intent builder class, we do not need to uh, we do not need to create or send an implicit task for the same action. So use the method in share compact intent builder to indicate the data you want to share, as well as many additional information. So start with the from method to create a new intent builder, and add a new method to add more data. So data and end with the start chooser method. Okay. So start chooser method, so you can write a code like this, share compact dot intent builder, uh, intent builder dot from you can pass this. So in this is actually information about the calling activity. And after that, dot set types, in which you pass MIME type. So this is mainly MIME type for the data. And if you write dot chooser title, in which you pass share this text with. Okay. So title for the app chooser. Okay. And next dot set text, in which you pass text, that is intent data. Okay. Means text is actually intent data. So dot start chooser, this is send the intent. So next one is managing the task and activity. So it provide you to learn about the task about the back stack. So in which the stack for your app contain its own stack for the activity, and the user has visited while they use the apps. So as per the user navigate around the app activity instance for that, uh, take a pause and process from the stack of the task. So most of the time user navigate from activity to activity and back again through the stack of the straightforward. So depending on the design and navigation of your app, there may be complications, especially with the activity that started from other apps or other tasks. So, for example, say you have an app with three activity, that is A, B, and C. So A launches B with an intent, and B launches C. Okay, so C in turn send an uh, um, intent to launch A and to launch A, and in this case, the system create a second instance of A on the top of the stack. So rather than bringing the already running instance to the foreground, it's foreground depending on how you implement your activity. So the two instance of A can get out of synchronize and provide the synchronize and provide confusion experiences for the user as they navigate back through the stack. Or say your activity C can be launched from the second app with an implicit intent. So the user run the second app which has its own task and its own back stack. So if that app uses an implicit intent to launch your activity C, so a new instance of C is created and placed on the back stack for that second app stacks. So your app still has its own task and its own back stack and its own instance of C. So in this diagram you see that the first uh, A is definitely A is the main activity, and A is called activity B. Okay, so once A is called activity B, so A is stopped, but that time B is on active mode. Okay, and B is put it on the top of a stack. So once B is active, so B call the activity C. Okay, and once the activity C is called, then B is stopped and activity C is launched. So when C is launched, then that time at the top of stack, C is activity C is on present. So what happened again? C call the activity A again. So what happened? A new instance of A is launched. So the previous activity is not called. A new instance of A is called because as you know that in a stack, if we want to remove a data, then it is started from the top. So what happened first, it removed the activity C and then B, and then it take a copy of activity A, and then it again B and C are put in the stack. So there are so many work are happen at their time. So what happened, again activity A is again a new instance of activity A is launched. Okay, so much of the time android's default behavior of the task and the activity work fine, and you didn't have to worry about how your activity are associated with the task and how they exist in the back stack. So if you want to change the normal behavior, android provide a number of way to manage task and the activity within those tasks, including so activity launch a node to determine how an activity should be launched. So a task affinities and affinities which indicate which task is launched in the activity block. So activity launcher mode. So activity launcher mode, use activity launch mode to indicate how new activity should be tested when they are launched. and that is if they should be they should be and they should be added to the current task or are launched into a new stack. It defined a launch mode. It defined a launch mode for the activity with at attribute on the activity element of the Android manifest. So or with the flag set on the intent uh, that actually start the activity. Next one is the activity attribute. So to define a launch to define a launch mode for an activity, add the Android launch mode attribute to the activity element in the Android manifest file. So this is an example of code how we write the activity launch mode attributes inside the activity tag. So inside the activity tag, just write a attribute that is Android colon name equal to dot second activity, and after that Android colon level equal to uh, at the rate string slash activity to underscore name. Okay, after that just write attribute Android colon parent activity name equals to dot main activity, and after that Android uh, colon launch mode equals to standard, and then just close the activity tag. So there are four launch mode available as the part of activity element. First one is standard, second one is a single top, third one is a single task, and fourth one is a single instance. So what is standard? Standard is actually the default. Okay, so the activity are launched and added to the back stack for the task. An activity can be activity can be instead multiple times. Okay, instant multiple time, and single task can be multiple instance of the same activity. So a multiple instance can belong to the different task inside the standard mode. Next one is a single top mode. If the instance of an activity exists at the top of the back stack for the current task, and an intent request for that activity arrives, so Android route that intent to the existing activity existing activity instance rather than creating a new instance. So a new activity is still initiated if there is an existing activity anywhere in the back stack, so other than the top. Okay, next type is a single task. Okay, so when the activity is launched, the system creates a new task for that activity. So if another task already exists with an instance of the activity, the system launch um, if another task already exists when the if another task already exists with an instance, and that activity have same roots of the intent that have an activity instance. So instance, except that the system does not launch any other activity into the task holding the activity instance. So the activity is always the single one, and the only the member of its task. So the vast majority of a app will only use the standard or single top launch mode, and the documentation of more detailed information on the launch mode is uh, first one is a intent flag. So intent flag are the option that actually specify how the activity that receive and intent should handle that and intent should handle that intent. So intent flag are defined at constant in the intent class and belong with the word flag underscore. So you add intent flag to an intent object with the set flag method or a add flag method. So the specific intent flag are used to control activity launch mode either in conjunction with the launch mode attribute or the place of it. So intent flag always take place over the launch mode over the launch mode. Okay. So in the case of conflicts, flag activity underscore new task. So start the activity in a new task. This is the same behavior. This is the same behavior as a single task launch mode. So flag activity single top. If the activity is to be launched the top of the back stack, the root of the instance to the existing activity instance, and otherwise create a new activity instance. And this is the same behavior as the single top launch mode. Next one is a flag underscore activity underscore clear top. So if the instance of the activity to the launch activity is already exists, so in the back stack it destroy any other activity on the top of it, and just root the intent that existing instance. So when used in conjunction with the flag underscore activity underscore new underscore task, this flag locate any existing instance of the activity in any task or bring to the foreground. So you can see the intent class for more information about the intent flag. Okay. And Another point is how to handle a new instance. So when an android system root an intent to the existing activity instance, the system call the on new intent callback method. Just before the on resume method, the on new intent method include an argument for the new intent. So that was rooted to the activity. Otherwise the on new intent method in your class to handle the information from that new intent. So note that the get intent method to get access to the intent that launch an activity, and it always retain the original intent to launch the activity instance. So it actually call the uh, set intent method in the new intent method. And it looks like that firstly it override that, and then public void on new intent method it's called, and in which it pass intent, and then it writes super dot on new intent in which it parts intent object, and use the new intent, not the original one. Okay. And after that it calls set intent method in which it parts the intent object, and just close them. So any call to get intent after this return are the new intent. Okay, so next is task affinities. What is task affinity? Task affinity actually indicate with the which task and activity prefer to belong prefer to belong where the activity instance is launched. So by default all the activity will belong to the app that launch them. So activity from outside an app launches with implicit intent, so belong to that app and send the implicit intent. The to define the to define the task affinity, add the Android colon task affinity attribute to the activity element in the Android manifest. So the default task affinity in the package name of the app, and it declare the new task, and name should be unique and different from the package name. So let's take an example that uses the com.example.android.myapp.new task for the affinity name. Okay, so for the affinity name, so first call the activity tag, and inside that just write some attribute like first name attribute, level in attributes, and parent activity name attributes. So first of all, in a name attribute, just pass the dot second activity as a value, and then in the level, just pass the at the rate string slash activity to underscore name, and in the parent activity name just pass the main activity. And after that task affinity equal to com dot example dot android dot my app dot new task. So here my new task is written as a affinity name, and after that close the activity tag. So task affinity, so the task affinity are often used to conjunction often used to conjunction will be the with the single task, and launch with the flag activity new underscore task, and the intent flag to place a new activity in the own name task. So if there are new task already exist, the new task already exists, the intent is rooted to that task, and rooted to that task, and to task and that affinity. So the another use of task, and another use of task attribute is requesting, which enables the task to move from the activity, and with activity it was launched in the activity. So it has an affinity for enable the task representing. So add the task affinity attribute to the activity elements, and set the android colon and allow task representing to true. So you need to first call the activity tag. So inside the activity tag you need to write some attribute, that is first name attribute, level in attribute, and the same. So in the first name attribute, you need to write the name of that activity. So as we know that we are calling the second activity, so write the name as a dot second activity, and that in the level attribute, write at the rate string slash activity to underscore name, and then in the parent activity name just write dot main activity, and then task affinity equal to com dot example dot android dot my android dot my app dot new task. So android allow task to represent um Android colon allow task representing equal to true, and then just close the activity tag. So there are so many related practicals are there, that is activity and implicit intent, activities and implicit intent. So guys, you can try that task, and just uh, do that practical on the Google Android Studio. Next we will learn about next we are switching to the Android Studio debugger. So debugger is the process to define and fixing the error to unexpected behavior of your code. So all the code have bugs from incorrect behavior in your app. So to behavior that consume memory or a network resource, and to actual app freezing or crashing. So bug can result of many reason. So first one is error in your an error or in your design or implication, and Android framework limitations, or missing requirements, or missing requirement or assumption for how the app should work. And also the device limitations. So use the debugging testing and uh, profiling capabilities in the Android Studio to help your procedure to find the resolve all these problems. So like these capability also include the Android monitor, Android Studio debugger, and testing frameworks such as JUnit or Espresso. So Delvik debug monitor server to track resource uses. And in this chapter, you will learn how debug your app with the Android Studio debugger. So set the view back point, and steps through your code, and examine examine variables. So running the debugger, running an app is debug mode is similar to just running that app. So we can earlier run an app in debug mode, and attach the debug to already running app. So for running that app, you need to start the debugging, and just call the debug in the toolbar. So in the Android Studio, in the Android Studio, you need to build an APK, and single it to debug the key installation. Okay, so once you run that, so you can also resume that uh, activities. Okay, so guys, so there are many more option to uh, there are many more option we can manage the task of that activity. So in the so we can in so in this our app is actually contain its own stack, right? So the activity can run has a visited while they use the app. So as a user navigate around an app, activity launches for that task are paused, and also popped from the stack to the task. And most of the time the user navigation from activity to activity and back again through the stack is straightforward. So depending on the design and navigation of the app, there may be complaints, and especially with the activity that are started from the other app and other task. So for example, say you have an app with the three activity, that is A B C, and a launcher B with the intent, and B launches C. So C is in the turn sent to the intent to the A. So in this case, the system creates a second instance of A in the top of the stack, and rather than bringing already running instance to the foreground. So depending on how you implement your activity, the two instance, it can get out of out of synchronize and provide a confusing experience for the user, and they navigate and they also navigate back through the stack. So guys, we can say that the activity C can be launched from the second app in the implicit intent, and the user run the second app within which has own task and its own back stack. So that app uses an implicit intent to launch your activity, launch your activity C, and a new instance of C created the place or the backstick for the second app task. So you will still has its own task and its own backstack and its own instance of C. So much of the time of the Android default behaviors for task and activity work fine and don't have any worry about how the activity are associated with the task, or how they exist in the back stack. So if you want to change the normal behavior, Android provide a number of way to manage a task and the activity with the which those tasks including. So first one is the activity launch mode, and second one is a affinity task affinity. So uses activity launch mode to indicate how new activities should be treated when they are launched. So that that is if they should be added to the current task or launched to the new task. So it defined the launch mode for the activity, which attribute of the activity element that the Android manifest or the flag set to the intent that start an activity. So that's why the activity attribute define the launch mode for the activity that add the Android launch mode attribute for the activity element and the Android manifest. So for the example, it you can write in the standard mode or a default mode for the launcher. So there are mainly four mode of launcher mode are available for the activity element. Okay. So first one is a standard, and the new activity are launched. A new activity are launched, and that have a that had added to the and that had added to the back stack of the current task. An activity can be installed multiple times, and a single task can have a multiple instance of the same activity, or a multiple instance can have a can belong to the different task. So a single top if the instance of the activity exists in the top of the back stack for the current task, and the instance current task for an internet request for that activity arrives. So Android route that the intent to existing activity instance rather than the creating a new instance. So a new activity is still in still instant if there is an existing activity. So anywhere if the back stack or other than the top. So a single task also in which single task launcher is also a mode. So where the activity is actually launches the system creates a new task in the Android activity. So for another task already exists with an instance of activity, the system routes instance to the activity instead. So single instance and same as the single task, and single task expect that the same doesn't launch. So any other activity though, so the any other activity into the task holding the activity instance, and the activity is always activity is always the single and only um, member of the task. The vast majority of app will um, only uses the standard or single top launch mode in the instant intent tag. So if the intent flag are option that specify how the activity how the activity that actually receive the intent should handle that intent. So intent flags are defined as constant in the intent class and begin with the world flag. So we can add intent flag to an intent object and a set flag or a add flag method. So we have mainly three launch mode for that. The first one is flag activity underscore new task, flag activity underscore single top, and flag activity underscore clear top. So new task it start the it start the activity in the new task, and this is the same behavior as the single task launch mode. Okay. And in the single top, if activity single top, in the flag activity single top, if the activity is on launched is at the top of back stack. So it route the intent to that existing activity instance, and otherwise create a new instance. So this is the same behavior as the single top launch mode. And the instance of the activity is to be launched already exists of the back stack and destroy any other activity on the top of it, and it route the intent to that existing instance. But when it used in the conjunction with the flag activity and the new task, the flag locate an existing instance of the activity in the task is bring to the foreground. Okay, guys. So here is a reference book. Android programming cookbook. You can learn Android step by step by from the Android programming cookbook. And here are some quizzes for the homework. First, learn this lecture, and after that, just do this homework. Here you can see that the XML file that contain all the text are your application uses, in which four options are given, that is stack.xml, text.xml, string.xml, and string.java. Today we learn about this in the which XML file we actually contain all the text of your application. So what is the manifest.xml in the Android? So in the today's lecture we are talking many times about the we are talking many time about the manifest .xml file. So here are four options, that it has the information about layout in the application, and it has the information about activity in an application. So it has all information about an application. So next question is, how many size are supported by the Android? So Android support all the sizes. Android doesn't support all size, and Android support small and the normal, large, and extra large size. So size is undefined in the Android. Okay. So guys, what is your answer? How many size are supported by the Android? What do you say? Next is how you pass the data between activity in the Android. Oh, this is a very easy answer. Okay. A very, very easy question. You can easily get the answer because today we already learned about this. So option is intent, content provider, broadcast receiver, and none of the above. Next question is how is the difference between margin and padding in the Android layout? So guys, in the design field, you know that the margin and padding of the Android layout are defined. So there here are the four options. That is, margin is specifying the extra space left in all the four side of the layout. Padding is the use to offset the content of a view by a specific pixel and dp. Another option is both A and B are correct, and D is none of the above. So, what's your answer? Next one is what is manifest.xml and the Android? So, guys, tell me the answer. Next one is what is padding? What is padding intent in the Android? So it is kind of intent. Second option is it is used to pass the data between activity. Third one is it will fire at the 4 point of time, and fourth option is none of the above. So guys, what do you think? What is the answer? Okay, for today's this is over. In the next class we will learn about the debuggers.